Hello my amazing people, I greet you according to your time. If it is your first time and you like what we are doing here, kindly subscribe, put on your notification bell to all notification. It's very important because it will enable you to know when we upload a new video. Here we react to all forms of videos, we educate, we inform the members of the public about what is happening. And to you YouTube, I appreciate you for creating this wonderful platform that we are using to disseminate information. At the same time, I put a disclaimer that here in Linda's TV show, we do not promote violence, we do not promote hate speech, we do not promote misleading information. Rather, we are here to educate, inform the members of the public, and also to remind you too that a call for self-determination is never a call for war. Every country in the world have this.
Insecurity in Nigeria. Quickly. Now, President Tinubu says nobody will be paid, no terrorists will be paid any ransom. He has made that very clear. Two, we have been told that some international partners are trying to assist us. Minister of Information said so. General Buba of the Defense Headquarters also said so. Who should we take help from? And then number three, there's this narrative that insecurity in the country, something we've been dealing with for more than 10 years, is a plan to upset the Tinubu administration. Is this about Tinubu administration or the failure of the security system in the country? Those two quick issues, three quick issues.
So thank you for having me. You know, I like the way you segment them. The notion or narrative that this insecurity, the intense insecurity is a ploy to upset or unsettle Tinubu's administration, in my view, is a decoy narrative that is peddled either by some security operatives or politicians in a bid to give President Tinubu an impression that it is a case of us versus them. So that once he accepts of that narrative or that notion, then he will not bother about the effectiveness or ineffectiveness of the law enforcement and security agencies. Usually, that is the tactics. And we've seen the movie before. In President Buhari's time, it is the same thing. You remember when he started the war against corruption? The minute information started coming out about public officers under his employ and appointment are involved in corruption, they immediately build a narrative to him that it is corruption fighting back. And the minute he accepted that notion, everything you say about public affairs under his administration, he didn't take it serious. He didn't commission the law enforcement agencies to be brutal about it because he has been made to believe it is us versus them. And this is the narrative that some people are trying to build for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to cover for their inability to deal with situation that is handed to them. And that's why I like what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said yesterday, which to me, he refused to buy that idea when he said, I don't have luxury of time. You have to go and deal with this or I take a decision. You see, Dr. Abati, these problems that we're confronted by or that is challenging us is local, and our solution is local. Even the notion that some international partners are opting to help us. I advised the federal government a few days ago on Twitter that we should look at that with a long spoon. We should accept that with a long spoon. These foreign nationals, this foreign government oftentimes use that as a ploy to negotiate their interests. They never mean and they will never solve our problem because our problems are local. And to juxtapose my point, when a missionary was abducted, an American citizen, you see the swiftness with which the American forces came and rescued the person. If they really wanted to help us, from when Boko Haram started till today, we would have been able to deal decisively with Boko Haram. Have our army and soldiers not been arresting foreign nationals amidst Boko Haram fighters? So let us treat this kind of offer, this Greek gift, with caution. But why did I say our problem is local? Our problem is local because this emerging issue of kidnapping is a crisis economy. And these guys you see in the bush abducting people are mere mercenaries. The real perpetrators are in towns, they are in white collar, some of them in government agencies, some of them in the banking, some of them in financial and other business interests. This is where in application of the Terrorism Prevention Act, we need to look deeply into what it provides. The Office of the National Security Advisor, that is the coordinating body, the Office of the Attorney General, that is the administrator of the act itself in terms of bringing regulation for facilitation of fighting corruption, then the law enforcement where the problem lies, which deals with intelligence, security, prevention, and detection. So when we discuss in detail, I will prove it to you that our problem is local, and the law enforcement and security chiefs, they are right now in the eye of the storm.
Well, about no ransom will be paid. Do you support the president's position?
I agree with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I agree with him because, one, he must have been briefed based on intelligence that the individuals behind this ransom thing are white-collar people. And so continuing to discuss and giving of ransom is feeding off of this crisis economy, thereby financing them, and in turn they will procure more arms and build that economy to be much more stronger than our oil and gas industry. And they know, these bandits, that once you abduct pupils, primary or secondary, immediately it takes an international dimension because it falls under the Convention of the United Nations, and the responsibility squarely falls on the federal government. But if you abduct families, business people, and the rest, they are deemed under international convention as local acts of crime. Once you take kids, that is why they had the effrontery and audacity to call for 1 billion. Few days ago, they even asked for 40 trillion, 150 motorcycles, and some cars, as if they want this to go and set up a new country. For them to say that, and look at, for example, Dr. Abati, they said they are giving 15 days. If ransom is not paid, they will kill the children. 15 days is enough time for all of them to be decimated. 15 days is enough. So this is where the question of intelligence comes. All of this investment in the procurement of devices for tracking and tracing, for surveillance and interception, where is it? Where are they? Are they functional? When somebody steals a phone in Nigeria, this law enforcement will geotrack the person and catch him. When a terrorist is involved in a crime, it becomes an issue. So everybody comes to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and form one narrative so that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will approve money. But we have not asked the ones that were provided before, what have you done with it?
We've actually asked that, Mr. Bola. We've asked about allocations and what has been done with that. We've consistently asked that question here. And from what you say, it almost sounds as if there must be some complicity and some people benefiting internally, hence why we've not been able to apprehend or contain this menace. Because you talk about it, and rightly so, I've seen the police work, or ordinary, in investigating just the theft of a telephone. Like you mentioned, using intelligence, and in 24 hours your phone is back, depending on who you are in society. And so you wonder why it's proven so difficult. So that then fuels the argument that there is some form of sabotage, there is some form of complicity. There are some people within who are deliberately ensuring that this menace continues. And if that is the case, then you wonder, why is the state not responding to this? Why is it hard for them to respond to this? Why is it difficult? These white-collar people you talked about, the bankers, why is it so difficult to trace? In some instances, these ransoms, the ones that were paid by even private citizens, were paid into bank accounts. Why is it difficult to trace that? We all went through the hassle of registering for our NIN in order to be able to track. Why is that not being used? So you wonder who is sabotaging the state, who is sabotaging this administration in that event, and why is it that we haven't been able to solve it? Is the state sabotaging itself?
This is a thriving economy. This is a thriving economy in Nigeria. That's why all manner of people are involved. We have seen a secretary of a church in Jos involved in kidnapping. We have seen family members involved in kidnapping of their own loved ones. We have seen a husband ask that he be kidnapped so that the wife will pay ransom. It's a thriving economy, and this economy is promoted, financed, and supported allegedly by financial institutions. If you look at the Terrorism Prevention Act, you will see the role. In fact, if you see the definition of what constitutes terrorism in terms of terrorism financing, then any bank that is involved in deposit, transfer, or felicitation or payment of any kind to a terrorist has committed a terrorism act. And this is in compliance with the United Nations Charter. Let us even ask the question, what happened to that, they call the Sanction Committee, that is pursuant to the international, the UN Convention. The Sanction Committee, because if you look at that Terrorism Prevention Act, you will see the committee members. They are the ones that designate individuals and financial institutions as terrorism institution. Ayo, few years ago under Buhari, in Zamfara, where the current Minister of State for Defense was a governor. What characterizes administration? Payment of ransom, payment of ransom. In fact, there was a time when revelation came out that the payment of ransom involved a member of SSS, a Nigerian soldier, a police, a local traditional chief. So these guys who are doing banditry, have you ever seen them flashing cars, changing clothes, or living a lifestyle that will suggest that these monies they have been collecting from people they're actually using? They are mere mercenaries. And that is why I emphasize the point. This requires political will to put an end to it, because the economy is thriving and expanding to a point where you cannot even vouch for members of your own estate. Because the minute you change car, somebody somewhere may be giving information about your life. Now, yesterday, very sadly, Governor Wike had media chat. And in my view, he was leaking out a lot of intelligence that ought not to have been leaked. You know, talking about they don't have money, they don't have facilities, devices for tracking and the rest. Do you know how much the government of President Buhari invested in the procurement of infrastructure for the purposes of geo-tracking, surveillance, and all of that? So what are we to be asking? Where are these equipment? Are the equipment like pure water where you drink and go to the toilet? Are they not hard devices? That's number one. Number two, everybody who speaks to the ears of president now is always calling money, money, money. So one, you have the crisis economy, those who commit the crime in order to make money. Then on the other hand, you have the bureaucracy that want to get more money so they can stop the crime. And in between the bureaucracy and the perpetrators of the crime are the Nigerian people. That's why Donald Trump, during his tenure, he so much distrusted the CIA that he commercialized and privatized intelligence collection and sharing. He started paying private firms to give intelligence to the American government, because when you give private sector tasks, you get efficiency and result. Bureaucracies are like this sea that never ends. Okay. This is my humble recommendation to Mr. President. So I will come to you just 1 second, sir, before you come in, Mr. Rufai. I just wanted to say something. It's about time that the government of Nigeria begin to use PMCs, private military contractors, not foreign PMCs. All these our retired generals, retired army, and the rest, let them be encouraged to form their own PMCs and let government privatize intelligence and security fight. We will bring this to an end within a short time.
So you're calling for private military contractors. Mr. Boyle, I mean, I get your point. I think we are dealing with, and you are a man of faith, we're dealing with a eutrophilic council, as it were. I mean, there a lot of counsel that is not right because they are benefiting from it to the president. But I want us now, at this matter at hand, to hazard possible scenarios. What happens in 15 days? Do you think we're going to be able to track in 15 days if nothing happens? We're getting some news here and there as regards the situation with those people. That's number one. Number two, you talked about the fact that hitherto we have this equipment, but you know, because everybody is immersed in this war economy, I think that's the word you were looking for. It's not even crisis, a war economy we have. And it goes across even more than the government agencies. You have a lot of other factors in a war economy. The question is, how do we now then stop this war economy that has started in Nigeria already? That's number one. Number two, how do we seize this eutrophilic council? Number 3 will be, how do we get these people out and get them home in 15 days' time?
Thank you. If the president wants these guys back in 15 days, Mr. President can call all the security chiefs and say, in 15 days, if I don't see these children back, I am relieving you all and I'm getting a new set of security chiefs. I guarantee you in 15 days, the kids are going to be back. You see, because every day there is a meeting, you'll be hearing them of lack of cooperation. The National Security Advisor is working tirelessly every day, calling meetings, talking. That's why people are now getting fed up to say we get fed up with these meetings. Because at the end of the day, when operation is executed and you hear of lapses, you will then hear there is interagency rivalry. Intelligence is provided but late, or intelligence is provided early, but these institutions that is going to carry out the operation so undermine the intelligence that before they will act on it. A few days ago, I heard a former CIA agent that said the Congress assessment of 9/11 said all the security platforms of America failed because all the intelligence necessary to stop 9/11 came. Intelligence came, but they refused to process it. Intelligence came, they refused to act on it. And when something like that is happening, the only way to stop it is for the commander-in-chief to hold people accountable. Few days ago, one of the escapees of one of the persons that escaped from this abduction or kidnapping said that when they were moving through the bush, at some point, this bandit saw the Nigerian chopper, this surveillance chopper, and they hide somewhere. After 15 minutes, the chopper has gone. They keep moving. That means the range of the law enforcement in Nigeria can reach where these guys are going. 2, geo-tracking. We all know the states in Nigeria where you have large expanse of land where this possible carnage is going on. What happened to our law enforcement security? And then the third one is, we put so much pressure on the Nigerian army to deal with internal security matters. So they are overwhelmed and fatigued. How can you ask a carpenter to sew a suit for you? These guys are trained to fight conventional war. When you bring them into the internal mechanism of security checks, that means you are going to expect collateral damage. And the minute an innocent person is killed, then international community come and say there is a violation of fundamental right. We are not going to give you this weapon. We are not going to give you this weapon. This falls squarely on police, NSCDC, SSS, immigration, custom. Custom are supposed to stop the infiltration of arms to the country. Immigration are supposed to check these borders where these human beings are coming. And then police, there is no part of security in Nigeria where police department, you don't have a police department in that regard. All security in Nigeria came out of police. The soldier came from police. SSS came from police. NCDC came from police. And the most ineffective and ineffectual security in Nigeria is the police. Wow. And where you cannot, that's why I said the president has to be decisive, because from Buhari to this president, I have not heard where a demand is made for money and these presidents refuse to release it. So when you release money, there must be accountability. If there is no accountability, if there is a kidnap, either the DPO or the commissioner of police or IG of police, somebody has to pay for it.
So do you think there's complicity in the system? Yes or no?
Very strongly, and I have a strong reason to believe that strategic people, even in security, are behind some of this banditry.
Okay, Daniel Boala, we have to wrap up now. We don't have up to even a minute. But let's go back to where we started from. We introduced you as a former spokesperson of the PDP campaign. But you had a comment on that. Is it that with the benefit of hindsight now, you regret your association with the PDP and would not want to be labeled as a former spokesperson, which actually is a statement of fact? Is it that you regret associating with the PDP and you just want to be on your own now?
No, I have no regret that I went to PDP. I have no regret that I supported Atiku. At every given time, I do what I do based on my conviction. And when at the end of the day, I execute what I'm supposed to execute and it doesn't work out, I accept realities of fact. The reality I have accepted now is that this politicking is gone. And because of the crisis in Nigeria, the only way we can even have a 2027 election is when Nigeria is safe and secure. And I saw this president, whom I have supported while I was in APC. I saw the good intention he has in ensuring that he right the wrong that the past administration has committed. And when he said he wants all other people from all opposition to come together for a nation building, I felt it is the right time for me to look at nation building rather than politicking. Because after all is said and done, there must be a Nigeria before we can then do politics.
Well, on that,
You ask, what is the NSCDC doing? Is the police being funded enough? Do we have the right structure to ensure that the police carry out is a cardinal role in ensuring peace and stability in the country? That's a critical question also, isn't it?
Well, before I get to that point, it's laughable that Mr. Bukati still believes there's no politics, what is happening. I don't blame him. I sympathize with him. He's not here. And people spoke better during the President Jonathan's time when this thing was happening. They made convincing arguments that there was no politics in it. But when they succeeded, they went for a party that they had succeeded. So people like him who are far from here, you should not expect me to be giving him names of people.
But it has to be substantiated.
No. You see,
if there are personalities,
these are security issues, and you have your intelligence. And you don't ask me to give you my intelligence, unless we have agreement on exchange of intelligence. You can't ask me, I won't talk to you.
Because for the sake of the public, though.
No, the truth is that, go out there, they will tell you that this is political. Go to the public, that's what they will tell you. Some Nigerians will love to pretend. You see the right thing, you don't say it, you don't look at it, you don't talk about it, so that you will not be tagged as somebody who is against this or against that. No. The truth is that, or the summary is, President Tinubu get the appropriate hands in the field, give the appropriate orders. They will clear this mess. There are many people who are feeding fat. Look at the amount of money they're talking about. He referred to Boko Haram. It started small. When they saw the money, they expanded. But the purpose of increasing the tempo, as at that time, was for power. As they have started now. Look at the time of President Jonathan. They went on demonstration, they went on rallies, they did all sorts of things. Because President Jonathan, calm, gentleman, perfect president we had, they succeeded with the treachery.
So your theory is that they are using insecurity as a political tool for instability.
No, I'm saying that since they have found a way that worked for them before, they can also use it the second time. But this time around, it's not going to be problem. It's going to be problematic. Nigerians are waiting. Nigerians are not happy with the way we are having all these skirmishes all over the place. The buck ends on President Tinubu's table. He is the only person that can give the commanding orders. Let him do so and get results. These people will leave the forest.
Let me take you to a bit of what happened on the floor. I mean, we're hearing now from the Minister of Budget on some of these back and forth on the Appropriation Act, the allegations about padding and the non-transparency of the process and all what have you. Let's take a listen to the Minister.
Mr. President presented a budget of 27.503 trillion, and the National Assembly, in its wisdom, increased the budget to 28.77, an increase of about 1.2 trillion budget. When people talk about padding, I think the word has been narrowed to a negative form, whereas in reality there can be no appropriation without either addition or subtraction of a sum, or agreeing to what was presented, or addition of a new project. And that is the choice, that is the consequence of democracy.
What do you make of that? I mean, this budget, this is not the first time we're hearing about it.
You see, the National Assembly has the powers of appropriation. I don't want to waste my time with somebody collected 500 million, somebody collected 300 million. Look, Shehu, is this not budget for the whole year? is 28.7 trillion put in a box that they will start using knife to divide it. You carry your own and go. What is the road of accountant general? There are things you will say, I don't waste my time on them. But you see, if I talk about politics now, you will say, politics again. But I'm happy some of the senators say so on the floor of the House. I think it was God's doing that somebody like Akpabio, who headed, became the Senate president. I supported him as against his closest rival.
Do you still support him now?
Well, I will not say no.
Because you know the reason why I'm asking you the question?
Yes.
Because there are allegations against the Senate president as to the kind of projects, boreholes and all what have you that are going to his own state as constituency project totaling billions of naira, and which is getting a lot of agitation. About the Senate spokesperson is reacting to it. And those, in fact, senators are agitated about what they are accused the Senate president of underhandling and the manner in which he has gone about the activities of running the affairs of the Senate.
That is within the purview of the Senate to treat. Would you change?
Is it not the duty of Nigerians? Because they are being elected to represent the Nigerian people.
Nigerians.
And if people are poking and saying, look, there are some things that are not right, in the manner in which
Nigerians can ask questions. But some of these things that are saying there are no facts we have seen. Don't say I'm supporting anybody. There are no facts we have seen. These are figures. You said something has been padded somewhere, something is padded the other way. I know these funds they are talking about. If this constituency project, we have been hearing about constituency project since 1999. It is only in my own part of the country that we don't see it. I was talking with a member of House of Reps some years ago, a Labour Party House of Rep member. He told me about the number of people he had given a job in his federal constituency and the projects he brought there, actually in Ondo State. I was listening to him. When he finished, I said, wow. Where did my own House of Rep member put his own projects? How many people did he influence the employment? So it depends on how you look at it. The public will have the right to interrogate some of these actions.
Because, in interrogating it, for example, Chief Nwayo, 427 boreholes to cost about 82.5 billion in that budget. It then means that per unit of that borehole, it will cost 193 million naira per borehole. As a private citizen, would you construct a borehole for 190 million naira? They costed 1,150 street lights to cost 212 billion naira. And each of that comes to 184 million naira per street light. As a citizen, a private citizen, will you build, if you were to build that in front of your house, would you construct a street light for 180 million naira? These are some of the issues of transparency. These are issues of accountability. And when Nigerians are asking that give us the details of some of these line items, there are questions that the Senate needs to come to public.
I agree with your position on that. You see, in this country, I have not seen these details. I just came back yesterday. I've been away out of Abuja. And I've called my secretary, let's have these details of the budget. If you bring me back, I'll tear it into, I'll tell you what my observations are. But let me tell you, contracts in this country have been bloated. Do you know how much it costs to build a kilometer rail in the neighbor here and in Nigeria? This is what ditto roads. That is not to justify it. But what I'm saying is, if they have discovered something obnoxious in the budget, there are ample provisions there to bring it to public domain by raising it on the floor of the Senate. I think what angered the senators was getting to BBC, speaking outside. If those things he said outside, he had said it on the floor of the Senate, it would have been covered by immunity.
Yeah, but if people are calling for the head of Senator Akpabio, because of some of the things that have been directed to his own constituency, and people have raised flags, and perhaps the costing of some of these projects. This is the way the Senate reacted to it. And there was a Senator Adaramodu reacted and said, Akpabio will not resign. and has no intention to resign at any time because he has not committed any wrongdoing to warrant a resignation. But do you think that Senator Akpabio should be answering some questions and coming clean about some of these projects that are being linked to his constituency and the costing of it as a public servant?
So, I'm very careful when I have or see situations like this. It was in this country that 5 Senate presidents from the Southeast were removed after accusing them of a wrongdoing. Shehu, listen to me. You remove them, the matter dies. That means you have achieved their purpose, not really the reason for removal. The second person was removed. The third person was removed. The fourth person was removed. The fifth person was removed. All within a particular Senate season. Now, I don't want a situation where we don't have enough facts. We start repeating it with Senator Akpabio. And I think the Senate, if there are issues, I will not support any wrongdoing in the Senate. If there are issues that Akpabio has overreached himself, Senate should, in an executive session, bring it up, and there is possibility of looking at the budget again. But this issue of impeach. If you ask me, people are not happy again that Akpabio is not towing a line. I have not seen Akpabio. I have not spoken with him since he became Senate President. So don't get me wrong. But I'm guided by past experience we had. My good friend Lawa finished his tenure. There was no problem. David Mark came, he became the toss of everybody 8 years. It doesn't mean nothing was wrong. It doesn't mean that he was an angel. Everything was done right. Akpabio now will not dance to the tune. I'm still talking about the office of the president.
All right.
Chenwu. Something cried, the bird cried last night. The child died this morning. Chenwu, don't ask me who killed the child. It was that bird that cried last night.
Thank you so much for sticking to this video to the end. Like I said before, now it's time for us to go to the comment section to air our mind and our opinion. Say what you think about this video and this platform. Do it constructively. Share this video, like, subscribe, and also continue to watch Linda's TV show because this is the home of news. Until I see you again in my next video, remain blessed. For now, I would say bye-bye.